Hi guys, I'm Nita and I'm back with another video. Today it's time for my Monday reads, where I talk about the books that I've been reading over the past week and what my plans are for next week and all of that. But because I didn't do a Monday reads last week, I have 2 weeks worth of catching up on. So I have to talk about all of the books that I've read so far in July, and then I'm gonna get into my plans for next week. I don't have the stats of how many pages and stuff I've read because I didn't do any calculating and stuff for last week when I was away, but I'm gonna go over the books that I did manage to finish. In total, I've finished 5 books in July so far, so not very much. The first thing that I finished in July was Ottoline on Goes to School. I think that's the English title. The Danish title is Ottoline på Kostskole, which is like the word for a boarding school. By Chris Riddell. This is the second book in this series and it follows Ottoline. Ottoline is more or less living on her own because her parents are traveling in the world trying to collect different artifacts. And she lives with this little creature called Mr. Markvart, who her parents found in Norway. And they have become best friends. But then Ottoline meets a girl who goes to this school. I forgot the name of the school, and also I don't know if it's what it's called in English exactly, but she has to find out what her affinity is. Like, they all have different things that they're good at this school, and they have to try to find out what their thing is. So she writes to her parents, a letter to her parents, and asking if it's not time for her to go to school, because she would really like to. She's been homeschooled so far, but she would like to go to this prestigious school to find out what her knack is. And so she goes there and find out that the school is haunted, and it becomes a little bit of a ghost story. And it was actually a really, really fun and cute story again. And I love Mr. Markvart, he's really precious. And it's filled with fun illustration, like this one. There's a lot of pictures, and it's just a lot of fun reading this and seeing all of the illustrations alongside. So I don't think the library has more from this series. It's a 4-book long series. I don't think more has been translated yet, sadly, but hopefully there will. But I know they have another series by Chris Riddell at the library that's called something like a Goth Girl or something, and I know they have at least some of them as well. I don't know if they have all 4, but then I'm gonna go and look for them and read them, because it's a really fun way of reading a book, and it's a really easy way to get through a book as well. The next thing that I finished was Murder on Marble Row by Victoria Thompson. This is book 6 in the Gaslight mystery series, and this series is one that follows Sarah Brandt, who's a widower, and she's also a midwife. And then we follow Detective Sergeant Malloy, who works for the New York Police Department, solving different murderous crimes. And this one, Sarah Brandt's father's friend is murdered, and they don't know what's causing it, obviously, and somehow she finds her way into that mystery again, even though Frank is not really happy with that. But it happens, and she has to go and seek some help from her mother. She is estranged from her family because she is decided to marry beneath her. Her parents are very, very high in the ranks, and then she married this doctor. It was not a good enough suit for her, and when he died, she decided to take up the position as a midwife, which made her parents even more annoyed with her, because they just wanted her to come back, and then she could still get a suitable husband for herself rather than working. But she just seeks out her parents' help in this one, because of the person that's murdered is her father's friend. And she's so it's always a lot of fun reading these stories, and I really enjoyed this one as well, and I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I think all of the stories so far have been 4 out of 5 stars, but yeah, they're a real delight to read and listen to, and the narrator of the audio is really, really good. So that's what I ended up finishing the week before I went on my trip. I only finished those 2 books. But at my trip to London, I managed to read The Wicker King by Kay Ancrum. This is a book that follows this boy called August and his friend Jack. I forgot his name. Jack has, it's known as the Wicker King, and he can basically see different visions He keeps saying that there's something around, and August is trying to help in his way, believing that he sees something and he has to fulfill the thing that he asks him to do. And yeah, I don't know, this story never really grabbed my attention. I thought it was like I was reading it, but I was not in it. I felt like I was not really immersed in the story in any way. I thought the characters were interesting. I thought the writing was okay, but I just felt detached from the story in a way. And so I ended up giving it 2.5 stars because I just never really got into it, and I don't think it was my kind of story. But it is very diverse, and it just does handle mental health interestingly. So for that, it was definitely good, but I just didn't really ever connect to the story as a whole. The next thing that I've also finished is finally I finished The Rook by Daniel O'Malley. This I've been working for so long, and I put it down and when I had about 110 pages left, and when I picked it up again, it was hard to get back into this. And it took me a while to get through it. I don't know what to say about it. I overall really enjoyed it. It was different. I like the fact that it explored amnesia in a way, but I just think it also was a little drawn out at times. I don't think it did it. I don't think I was as immersed in the story as I wanted it to be. But I don't know if that was because I just put it down and went for such a long time before I picked it up again, and it was that time that I was detached from it. But I think I'm ending up giving this 3.5 stars, so it's still a pretty decent book, but it's just not what I was hoping it to be completely, and I'm not sure I understand the complete point of this story by the end of it. I know this is a duology, so there's one more book, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get the next one. But we will see. Maybe if the mood strikes or there's a big sale or something, maybe I'll try and get it. But for now, I've put this series down. The last and final thing that I finished was The Readers of Broken Wheel Recommends by Katrina Bivald. This is a Swedish author who wrote this story about this girl called Sarah. Sarah used to work at this bookshop in Sweden. She was let go recently because the bookshop couldn't go around any longer, so they shut it down, and she was let go. And so she doesn't really feel like she has a purpose in life. But she's been writing letters with this woman, old elderly woman from Iowa in the US, and about books. And they both have a fondness for books and stuff. So Amy, who is the elderly lady, convinces Sarah to come to Iowa to visit her on a longer stay. But when Sarah finally gets there into this small town in Iowa, Amy has just passed away the same day, and so she gets there and can more or less just on her own and not knowing anyone, but the people in town don't want her to go away immediately because like Amy would have wanted her to stay, if you will. And so she stays there for a couple of days not knowing what to do, and ends up actually opening a bookstore, trying to give the town back for all of the things that they give her when she gets there, because she's not allowed to pay for anything. So she's just like, how am I going to give anything back to the town? And she finds that all of Amy's books could be sold to new book lovers or given away to book lovers. And so she opened this store and spent some time doing that. And she gets to know the town and gets to in a sort of romantic fling thing, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was such a fun story, and if you're a reader as me, there's a lot of fun little comments and quotes about reading and a reader's life, and there was a lot of references to different books that is so easy to enjoy. So I really enjoyed it, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I definitely recommend it if you come upon it. I know it's been translated, so there's a possibility you can find it somewhere, but it's basically chick lit set in a smaller town. Yeah, I really enjoyed it and highly recommend it, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So those are the 5 things that I've finished over the past 2 weeks. Now let's get into my plans for this week. I have upped my my plans a little bit. I hope that I will do really well this week because I haven't read very much over the past week, but I am home. I don't have anything to do over the next 2 weeks. So this week I'm focusing on finishing the books that I'm currently working on, which is not very many. I mean, I'm actively working on. I have a lot of books on hiatus and stuff. And then I'm gonna start something and hopefully also finish the 3 things that I want to start. Because next week is the reading rush, which I'll have a TBR up for over the week, and you'll see that, and that will be my focus next week. The first thing that I want to finally finish is The Hands of Oberon by Roger Zelazny. I have about 25 pages left of this one, but in the, like, according to Goodreads page tally, it's about 45 pages. So I hope that I can finish this in an hour to an hour and a half. I read this really slow. And I've really been a little bit bored with it. I'm not really enjoying it, so I'm looking forward to finishing it so I can move on to the next story over this month as well. So yeah, I'm planning on finishing this one for sure. Another book that I have picked up this past week has actually been Christine by Stephen King. I have been reading a little bit in this one. I'm on page 118 now. I think I was on 70 pages or something when I started, so I've read about 40 pages, so it's not like very much, but I read a little bit yesterday morning, but I was feeling poorly, so I didn't get very far. And today I've also been reading a little bit in the morning, but yeah, I'm enjoying it quite a lot, so I'm hoping that I can actually hopefully finish it. It does take some time to read, and it's like over 500 pages, so I have 415 pages left, so we'll see if it's possible. But I will put this on as a priority to definitely push myself to read as much of this as possible. Then I have an audio that I've put on my list, and that is going to be Wanted and Wired by Vivian Jackson. Basically, this one book is the July read-along book for the Summer Romance Book Bingo thing, and if you read this in July, you'll get some points for your book bingo, and I always am about all of the points. So I wanted to make sure to read this month and finish it this month, so I put it on my list to listen to this week. And it's only like 5.5 hours in my speed, so it shouldn't be a problem. I have set myself down to listen to about 45 minutes per day, so that is definitely doable. The next thing that I've put on to start and finish is Amaura by L.L. McNeil. I received an e-arc of this recently by the author, and so I really want to read it. It comes out, I think it might already have come out in ebook form, and then the physical form will come out a little bit later, but nonetheless I really want to read this and finish it this week, so I can get up a review of this. I want to prioritize this week, so I'm prioritizing to read this one rather than Christine. So if I have to juggle with the 2, I'm going to read Amaura over Christine and then get back to that later. But I do want to prioritize both and read as much as I can from both of the books. And the last and final thing that I've put on my list to read from this week is Full Metal Alchemist Volume 11. I always want to have something easy and quick to read if I feel like I'm feeling a little bit bad and I can't keep my focus on something heavy. I like to have something easy on the go. Like yesterday I was dealing a lot with headaches, and today I feel a little bit cold, but I don't know if that's the after effect of watching Stranger Things because that really got to me. But yeah, I would like to have something easy to read every week, and this will be my easy pick this week. So it is the 11th volume of Full Metal Alchemist, and it's also a nice way of getting through my library books, because I have now 2 library books on my TBR for the week, and I'm really getting close to getting through all of them, so I'm really happy about that. So those are my plans for this next week. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read anything interesting over the past couple of weeks, and if you've read any of the things that I've been talking about today, also let me know about that and what your thoughts were on them. And if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video very, very soon. Goodbye!